power too.
The Story of Moses, Chapter 1. Nearly 3,000 years ago, there was no nation greater than Egypt. Its fields were rich with grain, its treasury bulged with the gold of many countries. Its temple to the sun god rose high among all the buildings and glittered with the brilliance of gold. The cunning and skill of the world's greatest magicians entertained the Pharaoh. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, god of his people. And through the giant streets of the cities of Egypt marched Pharaoh's armies, the most powerful of all armies. And under the whip of Pharaoh, roads and cities were built. Under the whip of Pharaoh, slaves worked long days in the hot sun. Pharaoh had commanded there would be no nation as beautiful and powerful as Egypt, and he said no one would be greater than Pharaoh. But the people of Israel who lived in Egypt did not believe Pharaoh was their God, and Pharaoh demanded the people of Israel work until they were near death. Who were the people of Israel, called Israelites? They were the people of God, the God who made the earth and the sky and all men. They were the descendants of the man Joseph, whom God had sent into Egypt many years before. Joseph was an Israelite who found favor with another Pharaoh. But in our story, Joseph's people did not please the new Pharaoh, so he made slaves of them all, except one, Moses, an Israelite living in the courts of Pharaoh as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. But why? Many years before Moses grew to be a man, Pharaoh became concerned that the people of Israel would soon number so greatly they would rise up and cause trouble, perhaps kill his soldiers and attack the palace.
No, that will not happen in my land. The Israelites will never grow that strong.
What will you do, sire?
Tell all the people of Egypt to kill every son that is born to the Israelites.
Ah,
Yes, kill every one.
So the children of Israel suffered even more. The women wept, and all the families of the people of Israel were sad.
Oh, God. 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 Why must our people suffer? Doesn't he hear the crying of our women? Doesn't he hear the silence of our dead sons?
They will come for our baby soon.
They will not kill the child. I promise you. Even if I must die myself.
There is nothing we can do. Nothing.
If they do not come for him until tomorrow morning, I think... At least there is hope the child will not die. Now...
What are you saying?
We will work through the night. Come, quickly. It is finished.
Will you put the baby in that?
Would you rather have the child killed with an Egyptian sword? The basket is strong. The tar will keep it from sinking. We shall place him in the basket and let it float down the river and hope that someone may find him and keep him safe.
Where's your son?
There is no son here. He is gone. Gone. Away.
No harm would come to the tiny baby in the basket, for the Lord God of Israel would one day choose him to be his servant. His name would be Moses. "3,000 years ago, the people of Israel were slaves in Egypt. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, commanded that all the newborn sons of the Israelites be killed. But the mother and father of one of the Israelite baby boys placed their son in a basket in the Nile River and let it float downstream. It floated by the palace of Pharaoh, near where the Pharaoh's daughter was swimming.
Oh, Princess, look. A basket. Should I fetch it?
All right. There may be some treasure hidden inside. Let me open it, Kona. Oh, it moved.
Careful, Princess.
A baby. What a lovely boy.
He's an Israelite.
I will ask my father if I may keep him.
Oh, but your father wants all their boy babies killed.
I will ask him anyway. Certainly one little Israelite boy can't make any difference.
All right. If he really pleases you that much, you shall have him. And he shall be as your son. Are you happy?
Oh, yes, Father, thank you.
The princess named the child Moses. As Moses grew older, he learned that he was an Israelite. His heart was filled with rage when he saw his own people suffering under the whip of Pharaoh.
You are a fool, Moses. You think you've helped us. Now the Egyptians will make us work all the harder.
Yes, and you. See what Pharaoh says now, Moses. He'll throw you out of the palace. You won't be safe anywhere.
That's right, Moses. Run. Run away.
But far away on the slopes of Mount Sinai, Moses found safety. He did not live in a palace, but under the sky. He grew older and cared for sheep. And in the long hours of the day and night, he thought of his people suffering in Egypt.
Moses? Who is it? Who are you?
Moses.
This cannot be. The bush speaks.
It is I, the Lord God of Israel.
God.
Moses, do not come nearer. I have heard the cries of my people. I have seen their suffering in the land of Egypt. Moses, my people shall be free. They will no longer feel the sting of the whip. They shall come out of Egypt, and I will lead them to a new land that is good. And you shall lead them for me.
Oh, no. I am not the man to lead them.
Tell them the Lord God of their fathers has sent you.
But I've lived away from the people so long, and I can hardly speak. I take care of sheep in the hills. I see no one.
Moses, I will be with you. I will teach you what to say. And your brother Aaron will help you.
Please, Lord, send someone else.
You are the one. You are the man. You will serve me and my people. You will tell Pharaoh to let my people go from Egypt.
Lord.
Pharaoh will say no to you again and again, but his power is not greater than heaven's. I will send my power with you, such power as Pharaoh has never seen. Now rise and go. Go to Egypt.
Yes, Lord. I will go.
3,000 years ago, the people of Israel were slaves in Egypt. God sent Moses to tell Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, to free the Israelites. But Pharaoh said,
I will not let your people go. I will not listen to your God. I do not even know him.
The Lord God of Israel commands you, let his people leave Egypt, or he will send swarms of flies to cover all the land.
This he cannot do.
You will see.
Magicians. Magicians! How can Moses do this trick?
It is not Moses, sire. It must be his God.
Take them away. Please, take the flies away, and I will let your people leave Egypt. I swear it.
When will you let the people of Israel go?
Are the flies gone? All gone, magicians?
Yes, sire. There is not one to be seen.
Not one. Well, then there's no reason to let the slaves go, is there?
You promised, Pharaoh.
I am a living God. I do what best suits my nation and myself. I change my mind as I will, and I say the people of your God will not leave. Now, get out before I...
You and your nation will suffer for this, Pharaoh.
Get out.
The Lord will free his people.
Why is it growing dark? There are no clouds in the sky. But the sun is being hidden. Magicians, wise men of the stars.
Your Majesty,
all you've seen? Why is the sun being darkened?
We do not know, sire.
It seems as though a great hand is hiding its light.
Pharaoh?
You. Have you and your God done this to Egypt?
Egypt will be dark, black dark, until you free the people of Israel.
I will not free them. Re is the sun god of Egypt. He will not allow your God to stop his eternal light. Great God of light, mighty Re, let your light again shine on Egypt. Certainly the God of Moses cannot defeat you. Re, bring light. We cannot live without the sun.
Light will not come again until you set the people of Israel free. Let them leave Egypt now.
Yes. Now. Let them leave. I have seen the power of your God. I will free your people.
Pharaoh?
Don't worry, Moses. I will not go back on my word. The Israelites are free. Only take away this plague of darkness.
The God of Israel will send the light. It's true, Aaron. I go now to tell the people.
Moses!
Yes?
You will not tell the Israelites they are free to leave Egypt.
What?
Pharaoh has changed his mind.
But
He has changed his mind. He has commanded the people of Israel to remain as slaves. Do not speak to them of freedom, or they will suffer even more under this.
Oh, God, when will you keep your promise? Lord, do not let your people suffer more pain.
I have heard the cries of my people, and I will free them from their slavery. And I will lead them to a new land that is good.
3,000 years ago, the people of Israel were slaves in the land of Egypt. God commanded Moses to tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to let his people go free. Pharaoh would not free the Israelites. But God told Moses of his plan to change.
On from Egypt by sunrise. Leave me. Leave me.
Moses and the people made their camp by a sea.
I let them leave. I should have killed every one of them.
Well, there is still time, sire.
Prepare all my armies. The fastest chariots. I will catch them.
Well, yes, sire. Yes, sire.
Follow me. Now. Forward.
Moses, listen.
Pharaoh's armies.
Why did you bring us out here to die, Moses?
We could have died in Egypt.
God will not let you die. He has surrounded our camp with a great cloud so Pharaoh cannot see us. We will be safe here tonight. Pharaoh will not enter the cloud. And in the morning, God will show us what to do. Trust him. Trust him.
They're coming, Moses.
It's true, Moses.
I know, Aaron.
What are we going to do? Everyone, ready to march? Ready to march. Come, all of you. Come to the sea.
And now, oh God, show us your power.
Forward! Forward! Walk on the bottom of the sea! Move! Hurry! Follow them! Follow them! I will all be killed, sir, if we follow them. Forward! Moses, we can run no more.
There is no need to run.
3,000 years ago, God freed the people of Israel from the land of Egypt, where they had lived as slaves of the king Pharaoh. God chose a man named Moses to lead the Israelites from Egypt to the land God had promised to give them. But the promised land was far away.
Do you think we can stop here, Moses? It's a good land for grazing our cattle.
I know. I have grazed sheep here.
Then we will stop.
Not yet. You see the mountain peak up ahead?
It's beautiful, but
There at the foot of Mount Sinai, we shall make camp. The Lord has called us there.
The Lord first called Moses to come high on the mountainside alone. This was where God had spoken to Moses before, from the burning bush. And now God would speak to him again.
Moses, you have seen how I have cared for the people, how I have brought them here to myself. Moses, I will now tell them what it means to be my people. Tell them I have chosen them to be my own, and they shall be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. And as my people, they shall obey my commandments and laws.
I will tell them, Lord. The time has come for the people and God to make a promise.
Oh, what kind of a promise?
To belong to each other forever.
How can this be done? What will the Lord do, Moses?
The Lord himself is coming to stand before us in a cloud of fire and smoke. He will tell us his commandments, his laws, so that we may know exactly how we are to serve him.
And what are we to do?
We must prepare for his coming. And when the trumpet of the Lord blows, all of us will walk up the side of the mountain to hear our God.
Hear our God.
Go now. Tell the people.
Then, after 3 days,
Listen.
look at Mount Sinai.
Oh, it must be our God.
It is God. He is calling us to the mountain.
God called Moses and Aaron to climb on a little higher. There the Lord spoke his great commandments.
I am the Lord your God. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Honor your father and your mother.
One after another, the Lord gave the rules he wanted his people to follow. Rules that showed the people they were to love God and serve Him, and they were to love and serve their neighbors. When Moses came down from the mountain, he told the people everything the Lord had said, and the people promised they would do all the Lord commanded. And after the people promised to serve the Lord, Moses led them to the new land the Lord had promised them, where they would become a great nation, God's nation. Be sure to watch the next chapter of Great Bible Stories.